I read a quote recently that I really liked. It was by the photographer Peter Adams, and it goes something like, "A camera didn't take a great photo any more than a typewriter wrote a great novel." In this video, I want to talk about that sentiment. Filming that 30-second intro really made me hungry, and because I am a trash human with an affinity for gas stations, I'm going to a gas station that recently opened up by the house that has a burger place inside. So I'm about to go eat a gas station hamburger. And we got a crispy crunchy chicken. Kombucha on tap. Thank you. You too. Now, this isn't a video about how gear doesn't matter, because ultimately, we all know that gear does matter. But I think that we need to rethink what we mean by gear matters. And what I think Peter Adams is getting at is, gear only matters to you, or at least it should. Now, I know this isn't what you came here for, but we are about to do a taste test of this gas station hamburger, Flamin' Burger. Let's see about it. Not bad. I've had worse. This could use some salt. If you come across a Flamin' Burger in a gas station, give it a shot. So we're not just gonna sit here and watch me eat the whole time. And I'm also not just going to sit here and talk to the camera about my thoughts on this. We're gonna go downtown and take some photos. Not today because it's late and it's dark and I wanna go to bed, but tomorrow morning. Came all the way downtown and realized that I forgot my tripod. So the camera is currently precariously perched on a wall, really hoping it doesn't fall over. Anyway, as many of you know, or maybe not, I don't know, whatever, I recently switched camera systems. I started my photography journey on Sony, and then I switched to exclusively Fujifilm for a period of time. And recently I've switched back to Sony. Now there are many reasons for this. I found that, with my style and the way that I work, Sony worked better for me, but I won't tell you what those reasons are because they're mine and they shouldn't matter to anyone else. That reminds me of a conversation that I had with a photographer recently. We were talking about gear and he, somewhat off the cuff, mentioned how YouTube is filled with digital photographers who only show products and compare specs, and analog photographers who only talk about theory. Now, I agree with half of what he said. I do think that most digital photographers on YouTube do mainly compare specs as if that's what makes a great photo. But I don't agree that analog photographers talk about theory. I think that analog photographers nerd out about gear just as much as digital photographers do, only they're more concerned with film stock and grain pattern rather than sensor size and ISO performance. But I digress. But his point resonated with me. I mean, I've fallen down the YouTube rabbit hole of what's the best camera, or what camera does this photographer that I like use? Looking at you, James Popsis. But ultimately, it doesn't matter. Why? Because no matter how hard I try, I've never taken a photo and thought, hey, this looks like one of James's photos. Instead, I'm always stuck with, hey, this looks like one of Steven's photos. But back to the point of the video. I don't think anyone in the history of ever has asked an author, hey, what typewriter did you write this novel on? And if so, I'd love to buy that person a beer and hear all the other outlandish questions that they may have. But in the same vein, and I think to Peter's point, the camera doesn't matter. You may like a photo for 1,000 different reasons, and I guarantee that not one of those reasons is because it was shot on a Leica, unless you're that far up your own ass. A while ago, I taped all the logos on my camera. At first, it was because I saw other photographers doing it, and I thought it was for safety reasons, thinking if people didn't know what kind of camera I was using, I would be less of a target. But then I thought about it, and after being asked by another photographer what camera I was using, it kind of dawned on me. By covering up the logo and what camera I'm using, I'm separating myself from the camera. It's not this camera or that camera that's taking great photos, it's me. I'm just using this particular hunk of plastic and metal and glass, whatever it may be. So does the camera that I use matter? Hell yeah, it does. It matters a lot to me. The ergonomics, lens variety, availability on the used market, etc. All those things matter a lot, but they only matter to me. And that's the only person they should matter to. So Pete, can I call you Pete? I hear you and I agree with you. Cameras don't take great photos, people do. And if you disagree with that statement, then we probably have different definitions of what a great photo is. But I'm going to talk about that more in a future video when I talk about Jason Fulford's work. So the next time somebody says to you, hey, that's a great photo, what did you take it on? I implore you to think of the most outlandish thing you could possibly think of. Suzuki M260 FPV with a Patagonia 2 to 6mm f/35. They'll either be very impressed because they have no idea what the hell you're talking about, or they might get the joke. Either way, I think you'll get a kick out of it. Later, Gator.